Welcome, day 6, marathon 6 complete of the 7 in 7 challenge. It was the second and last day in Leeds for Kevin Sinfield, and he was joined by his best man and best mate, Jamie Jones-Buchanan, on the run around Leeds. First of all, Kev, how was it?
Yeah, it was tough, the toughest one today. I think the combination of it being the 6th, very little sleep. The last 2 days have been an earlier start anyway as well to get over to Leeds. And I think sort of the emotion of yesterday as well, seeing Rob, being back in Leeds, the amount of people that came out to see us was wonderful. So yeah, it was really tough. It's funny because we've joked a fair bit about, so let's just get this one knocked off and we're all downhill then. We found ourselves saying it for the last 3 days, which has been funny, but I had to feel after that one today that, you know, we're in touching distance now. So one big effort tomorrow and we'll get this done.
And the start today, it was rainy, it was wet, it was dark, it was a real horrible start today. What was psychological wise? How were you coping with that?
Yeah, I prepared myself for the worst actually. So I were expecting it. I'm just glad it weren't windy as well. So, but Jonesy were brilliant. You know, huge effort from him. He's run one a few weeks ago, and he was well over 4 hours. So for him to turn that around and actually carry me through really today, you know, he was really strong. I've never seen anybody consume as many gels in my life. In fact, he ate a Mars bar mid-marathon. I've never seen anybody do that before. But just churned it up, and you know, if you want somebody who's got some mental toughness about him, Jonesy be a man. So he was brilliant. He was really good.
I mean, Jonesy is manic at the best of times. I can't imagine what Jonesy is going to be like about 1-2 o'clock in the morning ahead of him now after all them gels.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? The amount of times I had to text him last night saying, just please be on time, will you? Because we're setting off bang on 7. And I don't want the hassle of having to ring you and get you out of bed and tie your shoelaces for you. But to be fair, he was there nice and early, Phil, weren't he? He was good. He was all prepared. And the funny thing was he bought a brand new pair of trainers and not worn them and just said, I'm going to run in these. And I was like, Jonesy, you're going to get blisters here, mate. And he was like, nah, I've got rough feet. I'll be right. Anyway, he got through fine.
Yeah, his feet were a mess, though.
Yeah, they did look like something out of The Hobbit, didn't they? I saw him at the end.
The other thing with Jonesy, I mean, Jonesy planning isn't necessarily one of his strong points. He did arrive on time, but he hadn't really thought about what would happen at the end of the marathon as well. Did bring a change of clothes. Had to raid the kit man's cupboard like at school, going to the lost property.
Yeah, he left at the end then looking like he was going to a Leeds Rhinos promo. So he had a full kit on.
And in terms of your time today, still pretty good. You must be happy. When we spoke afterwards, you were saying that was really the sort of pace you were hoping to do more regularly during the week.
Yeah, really happy with the time. I think we got off them first couple of days and we were just full of excitement and wanting to get going, and then we ended up going because there was a massive shoot in funds. We were like, wow. And that just spurred us on, and then we were getting the regular updates. We just keep trying to put our foot down and push and push. Got to the end of the 3rd day really and said, we need just to have a bit of a plan on this, because otherwise we're just going to blow ourselves away and not be able to do it. So really pleased that, you know, we're a bit more disciplined yesterday in particular, and even more so today. But to be honest, I don't think I could have gone any quicker today. I think sort of, you know, went to a pretty dark place and dug in, and Jonesy were brilliant. So I am really looking forward to tomorrow. I think, you know, adrenaline and excitement will get us through, and it's like we're back in a grand final.
You mentioned that after the game that today was a really tough semi-final, but we're going to the big show tomorrow. I mentioned to you that I've thought about these 7 marathons as your 7 grand finals that you've won. I always had these back-to-back ones in Leeds reminded me of 11 and 12, where winning it from 5th, a lot of doubters there whether you'd be able to, you know, carry it on, but win it there. So that means we've got 1 to go, and that was a pretty special one.
Yeah, very special. Yeah, hopefully it's a little bit easier than that grand final though, because it was pretty tight, that 2015 one. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think the team we put together, I mentioned a fair bit in here, have been absolutely awesome. You know, there's 6 blokes, you know, and I'm one of them, but yourself included, Phil. The other 5 have just took a week off work. And Phil, you've put so much time into this. The other 4 guys have just dropped everything and been so unselfish to go, right, well, the 6 of us will try and do something as special as we could. And you know, it's certainly turned out that way. It's been a really good week for all of us. It's probably one of the best weeks I've ever had, and that's including all my time as a player. Just had a really good time, and it's been really tough, but actually the camaraderie, the banter has been brilliant.
Fantastic stuff. And you've inspired so many people we see on social media about the inspiration. And Phil, who joins us, you've inspired by Kev. You're doing 7 marathons in December, Phil.
That's right, Phil. Yeah, I mean, it was the inspiration both from Kev and from obviously from Rob. You know, I think I just felt that I had to do something, and I think, you know, through the likes of, you know, the last 9 months, you feel that charities have all suffered from, you know, having events cancelled. So, you know, the least I could do is get off my backside and do something to support. So mine's a bit more leisurely than yours, Kev. It's over a month, so it roughly works out at 10k a day. And I guess the other thing that I don't know if you found hard, and the team's found hard, Kev, is the weather. You know, you forget that it's December, and Friday was hard for me. It was cold, it was snowy down here in South Yorkshire, but you know, yesterday was a bit better, wasn't it? So let's hope that the weather's going to be good for you tomorrow, and for me for the rest of the month, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I just think it's brilliant what you're doing. Congrats, it's massive respect. It is a tough month to run in, a bit like January as well. January's the same, but
yeah,
good on you.
And you're a long-term fan of the club, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 59, a bit older than you, Kev, so and Rob. So, you know, I go back to the likes of the '78 Cup final when I was there, and you know, I remember seeing Rob on his final game. I remember seeing him on his debut. You know, so yeah, I think the associations with the club are a bit deeper than that as well, because my best friend from school was his father was chairman at Leeds, Joe Warham. So Mark was a lifelong friend until sadly he died 2 years ago, which was a bit of a shock. So, you know, like, there's some really deep associations with the club. And I think, you know, the one other thing that's come through from you, Kevin, from the rest of the team, you know, like Jonesy and other people that, you know, not even with the club anymore, is the spirit that comes through from the club to support Rob, but just the charity and everybody who's involved, which is great.
Yeah, fantastic. And you'll have some special memories of Rob out in the big games. What stands out for you?
Well, I mean, the one key thing is always the dogged determination he used to put into every game. You know, the size he was, you know, he used to take some big hits, but he always used to get back up and, you know, and give better back in terms of scoring the tries and just the determination. And I think that's really what's shining through now, and that's just what's inspiring everybody, isn't it? It really is inspiring everybody, the way he's approaching, you know, the things he's going through at the moment. And Rob, you're an inspiration to everybody. You really are. I'm sure you're going to be told that many times, but, you know, genuinely, I don't think you know how much of an inspiration you are.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree with that, Phil. And you mentioned there about Rob's dogged determination and always determined to take on the big men. Often when he got himself into trouble, he had a certain person alongside him just to make sure things didn't get out of hand. Would you agree with that, Keith?
No, with Rob. He probably got me into more trouble because he would always start in these fights. I ended up having to get into fights as well. So yeah, we speak about this a lot. You know, the humour behind Rob. He talks about his fighting career is 3-0. He's won 3 fights that he's had in his career. And I think if anybody's actually seen the fights, they will realise that he's making it up. He has got that dogged determination, what everybody talks about. But when it comes to fighting, that is one thing that he knows that he can't do, and he's never going to win. So we'll give you the 3-0, Rob, but realistically, you are really 3-0 for the losses.
But I mean, doesn't it just sum up what we've seen the last year in terms of all his teammates and friends, everyone's got his back. Just as you had on the field when big men came looking for him, everyone's always got his back.
Yeah. Because of his size, there is a duty of care that you feel that you've got to have to look after him. But I always say that I never had to. I always knew that he could always defend. There'd never be an issue when it came to that aspect of it. You know, the bigger they were, there was never any doubt in my mind that he'd make that tackle. So the duty of care was to make sure that I could cover up for the side of things that he did need help with, because obviously he was a little bit small. So they tended to get a few offloads on him, but he was always going to make that tackle. I just knew that there were going to be a few weaknesses that they were going to exploit. So again, there's not much to him, but I had full confidence in him. You do feel that duty of care just because of his size, but there was never any doubt that he could handle himself. You know, from not just from me, but from everybody involved on the pitch with him.
And as an outside back, how exciting was it playing alongside someone like that, knowing that he could just come up with a piece of magic to put you away?
Yeah. That's one thing when you retire, you appreciate it a lot more than actually when you're in the moment. And that's been one of the good things for me, is looking back over the history, the heritage, the players that you play with, the full shelf of it. And I think it's a privilege for me to be, you know, not just Rob, we talk about the generation. And I think when you talk about Kevin, Danny and Rob, to play with that type of generation, it happens once every blue moon. And to be involved in that is something that is very special, because they grew up together, they learned from each other. And we basically connected with them. We fitted into their way of playing because they'd been there so long. And they were the linchpin. They were the key that held the team together in a way. And like I said, when Rob, Kev, Danny, when Rob did something, you knew that he could do it on his own. That magic individual brilliance that not everybody could do. You know, behind the 8 ball, you give the ball to Rob, which he showed, and it epitomised the 2011 grand final, which everybody will talk about, that try, just coming on the field, just doing his little bit of magic and basically changing everything and scoring a try out of nothing. And that was the beauty of him.
And what have you made of Kev's 7-in-7 challenge? You've done a fair bit of long distance running, extreme running yourself.
Yeah, I found it funny when you're talking about Jones needing a Snickers bar halfway around. I need a Sunday dinner when I'm doing a marathon, running around there. I take all sorts from it. I'm dramatically slower, and we've worked out I'm an hour slower than Kev's fastest time, which is my time. And I think the 7-in-7 is tough. It's a very tough challenge, and I think by doing it for the time scale that he's set himself, I think that's what's made it extra special. And I think the way our civil society is at the moment, you know, with COVID and everything that's going off, I think it's just been brilliant that it's brought the nation together. Full credit to everybody, yourself, Phil, everybody that's got involved with the media, all the promotional work, because it's such a good story, and everybody's fully behind the cause, the man, and the occasion. And I think, like I've said, the media side of it has just epitomised it, because it's brought the country together. And you look at the amount that's been raised, it's probably put even more pressure on Kevin to excel now. And I think he should try to get under 3:30 now for this final one.
Kev, no comment?
It's all about the team, Phil, tomorrow. It's all about the team tomorrow.
Well, that's the attitude of Kev is the attitude that we have in the sports. Rob's going through what he's going, and everybody's put their hand up, no matter what anybody's said in the groups that we've got. Whenever there's any challenges that need doing, people straight away have put their hands up. And, you know, we will support Rob as much as we can, and like we did on the field, because as Rob keeps saying, he'd do exactly the same for us.
Absolutely. One of those things that's been done. We had him on earlier in the week on one of the vlogs, Barry McDermott's Borough 7. I mean, for me personally, it was worth doing that just to dig out that picture of you on the Shetland pony, Keith.
I have actually got one of Rob on the Shetland pony as well, but that was one of the moments Rob was absolutely crapping himself, and that was on the Shetland pony. So you can imagine how we felt when he was sat on my horse. He was just absolutely petrified of this, this horse beneath him, and that's what I was finding so funny, because you couldn't actually sense the fear that was in him when we were doing that photo shoot. But I think it looked rather grand on there as well.
Absolutely.
But role reversal, we got it wrong that day, didn't we, Rob? Your legs still didn't touch the floor on that Shetland, neither, did they?
And it's great. We've been joined by Georgia Gray. Georgia, your family's been affected by MND, and you've set the challenge to raise money. You've done the Yorkshire Three Peaks. We saw obviously on the BBC documentary that Rob's wife Lindsay did it. How did you get on?
Oh, it was horrendous. It was so much hard work, but so rewarding afterwards. When we finally finished and I met my mum back at the pub, it was just such an amazing feeling. Really. And
your mum Debra has been diagnosed with MND. How, as a family, how much have you had support from the MND Association?
They have been amazing. Any little thing, they've just been so good. Like, my mum's been quite poorly these past few weeks with a chest infection, and we've rung the Gold Line and they've just got in touch with the doctors for us straight away. They've been so good and we can't thank them enough. So good. And
presumably before your mum's diagnosis, wasn't something you knew much about MND, so that whole process and allowing you to learn what you need to do as a family must be invaluable.
Yeah, I'm quite ashamed to say that I didn't really know anything about motor neurons disease before my mum got diagnosed, and I've kind of taken everyone on this journey with me and teaching them about it as well. And I think to get the awareness out there and everybody know about it, it's just something that we really need to do.
And you raised £4,500, fantastic for your Three Peaks. And you know that it's going to make such a difference to the MND Association to be able to help families just like yours.
Yeah, definitely. And our next challenge now is we're having to sell our house. We're having to move house to accommodate my mum and her needs, and that's our next challenge. So maybe we'll see what's in the pipeline for the next one.
Good luck with that. And it just shows that the differences that it can make to your life, that the MND diagnosis and everyone being aware of it.
Massive, yeah.
That's fantastic. Jen, in terms of helping families, that's a big thing for the MND Association. They're able to help families, especially after that initial diagnosis where maybe they don't know where to turn.
Yes, that's really important. We're here not just for the person with MND, but for everybody affected by MND, carers, family members, children. We heard from Stephen about the work we're doing for children and young people, and we're there for everybody, there to answer the questions. And it's great to hear when Georgia says how great the support's been. It's great to hear that we're doing a good job and that we're there for you when you need us.
It's been great, Jen. On social media, we see all the different MND branches around the country all getting behind Kev. It's not just in our local area. Obviously, it's gone nationwide with everyone in the MND community.
Yes, I think like the rugby community, the MND community are also very supportive of each other, regardless of location or what people are doing. And I think you've really captured the nation with this, Kev. I think everybody is behind you. You see somebody in a car park wearing a Leeds Rhinos hat and you say, oh, you're following Kev, and you're having a chat about what you're watching and when you've seen you doing the different bits. I think it's absolutely brilliant. We're all behind you, and every branch and group, I think we're all with you, and we'll all be following you and watching you do that final run. We're looking forward to cheering you on virtually.
Thanks, Jen. Thank you.
And that brings us nicely onto that last run, Kev. 6 down, 1 to go. We've got a busy morning tomorrow before you set off. The BBC breakfast camera's going to be down. Chatting to Sally and down on the sofa down the camera. Yeah,
it'd be great. Yeah, I think the awareness, the publicity has been fantastic so far, and to be at this stage now in touching distance of completing the challenge with sort of the interest that's been generated, and to see that tally keep ticking over now and over in the 700,000, so it's absolutely remarkable. And when the 6 of us started to discuss this and we set the WhatsApp group up and everything around the number 7, and you know, I felt like we're pretty bold to go after 77 grand, if I'm honest. I just thought, and going into the start of this week, I just had my fingers crossed that we'd actually hit that target, and we've all just been absolutely blown away by it. It's been fantastic to be involved in. We obviously know why we're doing it, because of our great friend and his family, but also for the MND Association, to hear George's story, to hear throughout this week how MND has caused so much pain and disruption for so many families across the UK and the world. You know, we feel really humbled that we can play such a small part in 6 blokes just trying to do a bit of good. And thank you for the opportunity. It's been great. Like I said a couple of times on here, we've been really proud to wear the vest, really proud to wear it because it's got number 7 on and who it represents, but also the fact that it represents the MND Association, and you do some wonderful things, and hopefully we can do you both proud tomorrow.
I'm sure that you will. Oh,
echo that, Jen.
Thank
Kev,
you so much, Kev.
No problem. Thank you.
We truly appreciate it.
Kev, you said it's like a grand final. Any team news for us ahead of the big grand final?
Yeah, the team news. We've got a full squad tomorrow, so it's brilliant. So just to give you a bit of an update, so we started out with 3 runners 2 weeks ago. Sadly, David picked up a calf injury, and he tried running several times, trying to get on the starting blocks for Tuesday. Just kept reoccurring, and he has walked 6 marathons this week. He set off at 4 a.m. every morning, completed them all in 7 hours, but he's going to run tomorrow. So hopefully we get to cross the finish line together. Chris, who's done wonderful. It was Chris's fault that I started running. It's their fault, but he was certainly the one who gave me a push into running marathons, and we've run several together. I know Keith's met him, and you know, Chris has thrown himself at this. He's 50. Didn't probably quite know what he was getting himself into, but he did the first 4 and remarkably got under 4 hours. The 4th one, he picked up a calf injury, managed to make it through, fell over the line, and you know, he's not been well over the weekend, but thankfully he's patched himself up and he's going to be there tomorrow. So the original 6 will be there tomorrow, and we've had a really good week, Phil, haven't we? And even then, sort of that's gone, you know, over the last month, the text messages on the group, trying to put stuff in place, trying to jump through clearance and Public Health England and different local authorities and get all that sorted. And there's a real camaraderie there, and it'd be great tomorrow to start together and finish.
And you were talking to me earlier on about the numbers. You're all about the numbers. It's going to be a significant marathon for you as well. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. So Rob and Keith will probably know this, and you know, I always look for connections and numbers. And tomorrow being the 7th of 7, it's also my 13th marathon this year. So the two come together, Rob. Both our numbers, and hopefully, pal, we can do you justice.
I'm sure you will, and I'm sure I echo the sentiments of everyone on here and everyone around the country. You've got our very best wishes, Kev, and gratitude and thanks for everything you've done in the last week. We'll have a very special blog tomorrow after the finish line. We'd be delighted to have got some very special guests joining us who are part of the MND community, some friends of Rob's, and we'll catch up then. And it's going to be hopefully a fantastic celebration of a wonderful fundraising effort for a wonderful man and a wonderful charity doing so much good. So thank you all for joining us. Best of luck, Kev. Rest up if you can. And I'll see you in the car park in the morning.
Yep. Cheers, Phil. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Good work, buddy.
Thank you.